The Bills are back, baby! Let's just hope it's not too late. Anyway, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to my Week 11 NFL reactions. Before we hop right into the video, I just want to go over this week's content for you guys because with the holiday coming up, things are going to get kind of busy. So, you are guaranteed to get videos from me on this channel today, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday and Fridays are maybe, it depends on what I can get pre-recorded, but I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure at least one video gets done for those 2 days. Also, predictions this week are probably going to be pre-recorded because Wednesday I'm super busy as well, so if I miss something, that's probably why. Anyway, plug super quick as always, use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks. You can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Also, don't forget to use code WYATT10 on any Waggle merchandise. Link is in the description. But that's all I got. Let's get into my Week 11 reactions. All right, so starting off with Thursday Night Football, we've got the Ravens beating the Bengals in the Injury Bowl. If you guys haven't heard, not only did we lose Mark Andrews for the season, but we lost Joe Burrow for this season, except I have a question about Joe Burrow's injury. Apparently, before the game, there was an interview with Joe when he had something covering his hand and then it was deleted. They knew he was injured. Why not say something about it? Anyway, looking at the Bengals first, Joe was doing decent up until his injury where Jake Browning had to step in his place. Not gonna act like I watched the second half of this game, but I'm gonna say it was really weird considering receiving was led by Tanner Hudson, and Jamar Chase ended with 2 receptions for 12 yards. But he did get a touchdown. It's kind of hard to focus on anything else on this team at the moment because you just gotta wonder what the hell the Bengals are gonna do. I mean, are they gonna wait for someone to demand their release to pick him up, or are they gonna go and try and resurrect Phillip Rivers out of the graveyard? Looking at the Ravens now, Lamar was good, 16 for 26, 264, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and he also ran the ball 9 times for 54 yards. Top of that, you had Gus the Bus with 2 more touchdowns on his Jamal Williams campaign. And 2016 OBJ returned with 4 receptions for 116 yards. Receiving touchdowns were caught by Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, and the Ravens defense played out of their minds with Patrick Queen having a fantastic game, as well as the defense accumulating 5 sacks. Anyway, good game from Baltimore, bad luck from Cincinnati. Next game we got is the Steelers at the Browns, and I got the score 100% correct, except the outcome flopped. I thought the Steelers were gonna win. Yeah, I knew this game was gonna fucking suck. It had all the makings for it. You have Kenny Pickett, who's just not developing, versus Dorian Thompson, who's horrible. Looking at the losers first, we have Kenny Pickett, 15 for 28 for 106, guys. I mean, you can blame Matt Canada all you want, but he is just not playing good ball. Look at the run game now. That's kind of what carried the offense here. Jaylen Warren had 9 carries, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown, while Najee had 12 carries for 35 yards. Kiss that job, goodbye, stone shoes, you're done. Receiving was lousy, as you could imagine, and the defense played good, but I mean, when you have an offense that can't score, it's gonna be hard to win. Shout out to Landon Roberts, too, by the way, with 11 tackles. Looking at the Browns now, DTR went 24 for 43, 165, 1 pick. Kareem Hunt continues to not get over 3 yards a carry. I don't know why he is so slow now, unless he's just getting old. Jerome Ford had the touchdown. Elijah Moore led the team with 60 receiving yards, and Myles Garrett had a 2-sack day. Oh, and how can we forget our weekly shout out to Dustin Hopkins on essentially being the entire reason that the Browns keep winning. Man might be the MVP of that team. Moving on, we got the Raiders falling to the Dolphins narrowly, and this game was actually pretty good. It's just the fact that the Raiders could not capitalize at the end. They had a lot of opportunities to pull ahead, and they just couldn't get it done. Now, if you look at the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell, he struggled here, 271, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Josh Jacobs is back to his old ways of blowing ass, and Devontae Adams is back to his old ways of leading the team with 7 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown. Raiders also did pick off Tua. It was Isaiah Pulamoa, I probably said that wrong, and Max Crosby was the solo sack of the team. Speaking of the Dolphins now, Tua went 28 for 39, 325, 2 touchdowns. Mostert was actually limited to his production, which is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen him under 8 yards a carry, so 3.9 is unheard of. And receiving was led by the injured but returning Tyreek Hill with 10 receptions, 146 yards and a touchdown, while their defense basically dominated the game, where we'll see Jalen Phillips having 2 sacks and an interception, and Jalen Ramsey having 2 interceptions, one of them being a game-clinching one. I do think the Raiders are still an improved version of themselves, but you guys kind of got locked down. Now moving on, we got the Lions coming back and beating the Bears 31-26. Look, I said this week Dan Campbell was gonna drag Chicago to hell, and he did just that. He convinced you guys that you were gonna win, and then he grabbed your head and stuffed it in a pile of cow shit. I do just want to say Justin Fields played a really good game here. He had one of the best touchdown throws I've ever seen to DJ Moore. It was perfect. And he had 18 carries for 104 yards. Dante Foreman also had a rushing touchdown. DJ had the receiving touchdown I mentioned, and basically outside of him, receiving was worthless. Also, it's not very often you see a defense pick off somebody 3 times and sack them twice and still lose, but here we are. Maybe fire Eberflus? I don't know, man. Looking at the Lions now, Jared Goff turned his nightmare into a comeback story. David Montgomery had a productive day, 12 carries, 76 yards, a touchdown. Jameer Gibbs had a productive day, 8 for 36 and a touchdown. St. Brown had 8 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Williams caught a touchdown. And Alex Anzalone had 11 tackles, while Aiden Hutchinson had a sack that was also a strip sack, which ended the game for Chicago. Hell! Next, we got the Titans at the Jags, and this was a beating, dude. Lousy game here. Looking at Tennessee first, Will Levis, 13 for 17, 158, 2 touchdowns. He did find D-Hop with a moonshot there at one point during the game, so that was good to see, but it was not a productive passing day. Derrick Henry also got locked down, 10 for 38. And the other receiving touchdown of the day came from Jeffrey Simmons, the defensive tackle. Looking at Jacksonville now, Trevor went off. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Calvin Ridley bounced back with a career day, 7 receptions, 103 yards, 2 more touchdowns. And the defense combined for 2 sacks, but the names you like to see are both in here, and that is Josh Allen and, once again, Trayvon Walker. Look, man, as a number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker definitely probably isn't making the noise he should be. But I still think he's actually like a pretty decent player, unless I'm just missing something. Moving on, we got the Chargers losing to the Packers, and this was a fucking disaster for the Chargers. There's so many things that went wrong this game. 1, I saw Justin Herbert snap at the O-line and literally scream and spike the ball down. 2, Austin Eckler looks slow as fuck. And 3, Quentin Johnston looks fucking horrible. That guy can't catch a pass. Like, from all the offensive issues that went on and Brandon Staley not being able to stop the horrible Green Bay Packers offense, I legitimately think this might have been one of the worst days ever to watch as a Charger fan. Shout out to Herbert on being elite both through the air and on the ground, and Keenan Allen continuing to have one of the biggest bounce back years I've ever seen in my life, though. Looking at Green Bay now, Jordan Love actually played a very good game. 322, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. The run game scored a touchdown out of a fun trick play from Jaden Reed, and the receiving was kind of all over the place, led by Dontavian Wicks, but I will acknowledge it, Christian Watson got a touchdown. They also did get 2 sacks, too, from Carl Brooks and Rashawn Gary. Look, I tried to tell you guys when I was predicting this game, Green Bay's defense, they're sneaking into the top 10. Like, they were ranked 11 before this week. A lot of people slept. Now we got the Cardinals at the Texans, and this game started out with me thinking that we were in for a possible shootout, and then it just kind of mellowed out real quick. Looking at Arizona first, Kyler went 20 for 30, 214, 1 touchdown and 1 pick, but his touchdown was a bomb to Rondale Moore at the beginning, and it was beautiful. Rushing was led by James Conner, although Kyler did have the rushing touchdown, and even though Rondale Moore caught the receiving touchdown, receiving was led by Greg Dortch. Sorry, man, I know I said your name wrong. But here's the kicker on the day. You know how I was giving the Bears shit for picking Goff off 3 times and sacking him twice and still losing? Well, the Cardinals picked off CJ 3 times and sacked him 4 times, and they lost as well. Anyway, looking at the Texans now, as we can see, CJ Stroud is human, 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks. Devin Singletary again continuing to have a breakout year of his career, 22 carries, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. And the receiving was led by Tank Dell, who had 8 for 149 and a tud. Also, shout out to Derek Stingley Jr. on the very nice interception, and shout out to Blake Cashman for getting 13 tackles, as well as a sack, which was complemented by another sack that came from Will Anderson. Texans are a playoff team, dude. They literally are. Now we got the Cowboys at the Panthers. Yep, this game was what I thought. Also, Frank Reich, you need to go, man. What good has come from you switching to play calling? You guys look worse. Looking at the Panthers here, Bryce Young, 16 for 29, 123, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Run game was actually pretty productive, although they weren't going to use it when they were trailing the entire time. And receiving again was led by 86-year-old Adam Thielen, who had 8 catches for 74 yards, and Tommy Tremble had the touchdown. This just isn't it, man. Like, I feel really awful for this fan base right now. It sucks. Speaking Looking at Dallas now, we had another deck attack. 189, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Still doesn't have that 10 interceptions that everyone thought he was going to get. Tony Pollard had 12 carries for 61 yards and had an elite touchdown run. It was an angry run. Probably should be the angry run of the week. And receiving was led by Brandon Cooks in terms of yardage. However, was led by CD in terms of receptions, and he also caught a touchdown. Defense also mauled this game, as you could probably imagine, having 1 interception and 6 sacks, where Micah Parsons was responsible for 2.5 of them. Real tough game, Dallas. And moving on, we got the Giants beating the Commanders. Ron, you are done. You gotta go. Looking at the Giants first, Tommy DeVito looked like Joe Montana. 246, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Top of that, Saquon Barkley ran for 83 yards and also caught 2 of the touchdowns. As far as receiving goes, Darius Slayton led the team with 82 yards. The 3rd touchdown came out of him. And their defense sacked Sam Howell 4 times and picked him off 3 times. Except unlike the Cardinals and the Bears, they actually won. Looking at the Commanders now, Howell struggled, 255, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. However, I do gotta continue to eat my words on Brian Robinson Jr. because not only is he finding production with his legs, but in the receiving game, he has been the guy the last 2 weeks there. Sole receiving touchdown came out of Jahan Dotson. Sam Howell did have a rushing touchdown. And very impressive, their defense sacked Tommy 9 fucking times and still lost by 2 scores. Run! Moving on, we got the Bucks at the 49ers, and yeah, it was a blowout, the inevitable blowout. Nobody's gonna stand a chance till the playoffs, man, I'm telling ya. Tampa Bay's side of things, Baker, I mean, he did okay. 250, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 29 out of 45. Run game, again, non-existent, but they did score a touchdown, and receiving was led by Cade Otton. However, Mike Evans was still able to get a touchdown out of the deal. Looking at the D here, though, Antoine Winfield appeared to have a good day, 9 tackles, and the defense as a whole sacked Purdy 4 different times. However, they were never apparently able to make an actual impact with any of them. Peeking at San Fran now, Purdy is back on his shit. 21 for 25, 333, 3 touchdowns. Mac Jones is not doing that. Christian McCaffrey, he got shut down in the run game. However, he did have a receiving touchdown, as well as Kittle going 8 for 89 in a receiving touchdown, and Brandon Ayuk leading the team with 5 receptions for 156 yards and a touchdown. Defense is also on top of it, with both Chase Young and Nick Bosa getting sacks, where the defense would finish up with 4 total and a pick off of Baker Mayfield. Dominant performance from San Fran, and I guess it's on to the next. Now moving on, we got the Bills beating the absolute holy shit out of the Jets. We're back! Not only are we back, but we ended Zach Wilson's career. He ain't gonna start next week. Saleh pulled his ass. This game was the most enjoyable time I've had as a Bills fan since Miami. Thank you so much, Buffalo. The defense dominated, the offense dominated, and Joe Brady might just be the hero that we all needed. Looking at Buffalo here, Josh Allen went 275, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick that came off of a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. Fuck off. Rushing was led by James Cook, who had 17 for 73. And receiving was led by Khalil Shakir, who had 3 for 115 and a touchdown after he absolutely torched Sauce Gardner. Now, I would like to just go high and crazy about the defense destroying the Jets, but it was against the Jets' horrible offense and O-line, so I don't want to get too high, but 6 sacks and 2 picks out of Rasul Douglas, good enough for me. And also shout out to Tyler Bass on bouncing back, going 4 for 4 on field goals. Now let's peek at the Jets quick. Good night! But also, I hope this is not too late for Buffalo. Now moving on, we got Seattle losing to the Rams, and I have no idea what happened in this game because I didn't watch it. Well, I shouldn't say I have no idea. I know Geno and Kenneth Walker got hurt, but aside from that, like, I don't know what happened. You can see Geno went 22 for 34, 233 and a touchdown, then Drew Lock came in and sucked it up. Also, the run game was led by Zach Charbonnet since Kenneth was injured, and Zach unfortunately did not capitalize with his opportunity there. Receiving, this is really weird. DK led the day, 5 for 94 and a touchdown, but he was one of 10 different guys to receive a target. Is that normal? I mean, the defense had to have played okay. The Rams only scored 17 points. Devin Witherspoon had a sack. Tariq Woolen had a pick, but they had no offense, I guess. Looking at the Rams now, Stafford went 17 for 31, 191 touchdown, 1 pick. Rushing was led by Royce Freeman, who might be the new number 1 there. However, the touchdown was scored by Darrell Henderson, who had 6 carries for 1 yard. Also, in terms of receiving, I know not everything was bright colored here either, because Cooper Kupp got hurt at least for 1 point, but they luckily have Puka Nacua, who is able to fill into that role whenever he needs to, bouncing back with 5 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, it looks like they had a very similar day to Seattle. However, I do have a question about Aaron Donald because I thought he was the one who hurt Geno, but he doesn't have a sack. Did he get penalty or was it just a bad play? Anyway, that fucking sucks, Seattle. You guys definitely needed that game. And ending with Sunday Night Football, we've got the Broncos absolutely destroying my year. Not only did they beat the Bills when the Bills needed to win, but they beat the Vikings when the Vikings needed to win. Damn, man, it wasn't the best game played by the Vikings. Wasn't the worst, but wasn't the best. Dobbs threw for 221, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and also had a fumble after he got absolutely clocked. Run game did perform well, which is unsurprising considering Denver ranks last in run D. But as you can see by the receiving, they got pretty locked down with TJ Hawkinson leading the team at 55 yards. I mean, defense was present. They were there. This is just one of those games where we needed to score more and we couldn't do it. And I hate to be the guy, but there's no secret if we had Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings could have probably made some crazy throws that they know they can't make with Josh, so they didn't even draw up the plays. Either way, looking at the passing here, Russell Wilson, 259, 1 touchdown. Javonte Williams got absolutely locked down. But if you look at receiving, it looks like nearly everybody got involved, and Cortland Sutton, again, just continues to make a highlight reel catch every single week. He's actually so good. Also, shout out to Broncos D. I mean, people are going to be like, oh, they stopped Josh Dobbs. Big whoop. I mean, yeah, they just stopped an offense that's thrown up 30 points in the last 2 weeks. Like, it's pretty good, man. They played a good game. Just sucks you guys had to hurt me twice. All right, guys, and that is going to be it for my Week 11 NFL reactions. I'm going to make this outro super quick because I've got a ton of other stuff to work on, so please show support, subscribe, turn on the bell. You know, I appreciate all the help I can get, but with everything I said, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so you can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you in the next upload.